No one who was in that delivery room back in 1982 has ever forgotten what they witnessed. Silence hit before the cries. A thick, awkward silence, almost wrong in a spot where new life is supposed to burst in loud and clear. The nurse held the first baby and paused a few seconds longer than normal. The doctor frowned. The worn-out mom tried to raise her head. The dad gripped her hand tight, his heart pounding for reasons he couldn't quite name. Then someone whispered, barely audible, "This isn't normal." That night, in a plain little hospital, a mystery came into the world, one that would change 2 kids, a whole family, and pretty much everyone who ever crossed their path. Twin brothers, same mom, same birth, same exact moment they entered the world, but nothing like what medicine thought was possible. One came out black with deep, dark skin passed down through generations. The other was albino, milk-white skin, almost white hair, and those intense blue eyes. But what really made the doctor sit down? Both had the exact same striking blue eyes. It wasn't just rare. It was something nobody in that room could wrap their head around. The doctor cleared his throat, called for calm, and called for more tests. The mom started crying, not sure if it was joy, fear, or pure instinct. The dad didn't cry. He just stood there, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what kind of world his boys were walking into. Word spread fast through the hospital halls before the family even got a proper chance to hold both babies together. Nurses popped in with lame excuses just to sneak a peek. Other doctors showed up. One of them dropped the line that would stick to this story forever: "This will be studied." Nobody bothered asking if that family wanted to be studied. The mom's name was Anna, a strong black woman raised never to lower her head for anyone. The dad, Roberto, was a regular working guy, one of those who figured love and hard work could fix pretty much anything. They weren't asking for miracles. They just wanted healthy kids. Now they had something the whole world was gonna point at, question, and judge. When Anna finally got to hold them both, she felt something weird. Not rejection, fear of what was coming. She kissed the black baby first, then the albino one, and whispered something nobody caught. Later she'd say she promised right then to protect them both the same, even though she knew the world wouldn't. The next few days brought test after test, big medical words, serious faces. One doc explained albinism could happen, but in twins like this? Extremely rare. Another talked genetic mutation. A third straight up called it a medical mystery. The local paper caught wind, a tiny notice was all it took. Within days, strangers started showing up at the hospital. Some claimed they just wanted to help. Others wanted pictures. One guy even asked if he could touch the albino baby like he was some kind of good luck charm. Anna said no. Roberto nearly lost it. They got out of there as fast as they could. At home, things got tougher. Neighbors whispered. Some stared out of curiosity, others with suspicion. One woman called it punishment. Another said it was a sign from God. Anna slammed the door and cried on the living room floor for the first time since the birth. The boys grew up in the same crib. They cried at the same time. Slept tangled up together. But the differences went way beyond looks pretty quick. The albino one had supersensitive skin. Sunlight hurt him, his eyes watered constantly. The other was tough, resilient, seemed ready to take on the world easier. Still, Anna treated them dead equal. Same clothes, same cuddles, same everything. She knew the world would start comparing them soon enough. And it happened faster than she thought. At their first checkup outside the hospital, the nurse only called one by name. The other got left forgotten in her lap. Little things, small hurts, but they piled up. Roberto started pulling longer shifts. Money was tight, costs kept climbing, special sunscreen, eye checks, meds. He'd drag himself home exhausted but always stopped at the crib before crashing. He'd stare at his 2 boys and wonder what kind of men they'd grow into in a world already struggling to handle them. The baby's name stayed secret outside the family for a while. Anna kept putting it off. She wanted to feel who they really were first, like a name was a kind of fate. As months went by, the visitors dropped off. The early fascination turned into distance. Some folks stopped coming completely. Others started acting overly gentle, almost pitying. That stung worse than the staring. One afternoon Anna overheard kids outside asking their mom why one baby was white when the parents were black. The mom snapped back quick and cruel, "Because he's different." Anna shut the window hard and hugged her boys tight. They didn't get it yet, but the world was already schooling them. When they hit 1 year old, doctors asked to use the case in studies, said it'd help other families. Roberto hesitated. Anna flat out said no. Her kids weren't experiments. That choice had fallout. Some pros backed off. Follow-ups got harder. But Anna held firm. She'd rather face the unknown than let her boys grow up as lab curiosities. That night, rocking them to sleep, Anna noticed something that shifted everything. The albino baby, despite all his fragility, was gripping his brother's finger hard. The other one turned toward him instinctively, like he wanted to shield him. Right there, no words, no science, something way stronger than any label existed. Anna got it. This story wasn't just about rarity, genes, or difference. It was about toughness, about love, and about how two kids marked from day one would have to learn young how to survive a world not ready for them. And that was only the start. When the boys started walking, the world stopped being just stares and turned into words out loud. Anna learned that the first time she took them to the neighborhood park, a simple spot where kids ran barefoot and moms sat on concrete benches chatting. She slathered sunscreen on her albino son, popped a hat on him, held both their hands. At first it felt normal. Then it didn't. A kid pointed. Another laughed. A boy yelled why one was white and the other black if they were brothers. Anna's heart squeezed. Before she could answer, a woman yanked her son away and told him not to stare, like staring was risky, like those boys were wrong somehow. It was the first time Anna wanted to bolt from a place because of her own kids, not shame about them, but terror of what the world might do to them. On the walk home, the black one fell and scraped his knee. He bawled. The albino started crying too, frantic, even though he wasn't hurt. Anna knelt, cleaned the cut, hugged them both. One bled outside. The other bled inside, feeling his brother's hurt like it was his own. At 4, school started. Anna picked a small place close by, thinking it'd be easier. First day, teachers were thrown off. They figured a mix-up in registration. Asked if the boys were adopted. Anna said firmly, they're twins. One teacher gave an awkward smile. Another said she'd never seen anything like it. Kids caught on fast that this was different. They called the albino ghost. Said he looked sick. Some were scared to touch him. Others laughed at his pale hair, his light-sensitive eyes. His black brother got called adopted, like he couldn't possibly belong to the same family. They said no way he was brother to that white kid. The boys started coming home quieter. Anna noticed the silence at dinner first, then the dropped eyes. One day she caught her albino son in his room scrubbing his skin hard, like he could rub something off. When she asked what he was doing, he said the words that shattered her, if I was dark like my brother, they'd like me. Anna cried that night harder than ever, quiet so they wouldn't hear. She cried because she couldn't shield them from everything. She cried because love alone wouldn't block out prejudice. Roberto talked to the school. They said kids are just like that, it's a phase, they'll learn to stand up for themselves. He walked out angrier than he'd ever been. Over time the roles flipped. The black brother, stronger physically, started defending the albino, standing in front when someone mocked, pushing bullies away. He got warnings. Got called aggressive. Nobody asked why he did it. At night they'd lie in the same bed. The albino feared the dark. The other pretended he didn't, but he did too. They'd hold hands till sleep came. They built their own little world where no explanations were needed. At 7 the albino's vision got really bad. Always front row in class. Special glasses. Avoid sun. Other kids called him weak, fragile. His brother started carrying his backpack when he could. Shared lunch. Shared the hurt. But it wasn't all pain. There were quiet joys, hidden laughs, games made up in the backyard. Anna told bedtime stories every night, different characters, but ones who won by being exactly who they were. She never spelled it out, but the boys got it. One day Anna finally gave them their full names at a small family thing, like a late ritual. When she said the names, she told them something they'd carry forever: you weren't born to be explained. You were born to exist. Still the world kept demanding explanations. In their teens the differences hit harder. The albino avoided daytime outings. Felt ashamed of the stares. Started isolating, hours in his room with music, writing stuff he never showed anyone. His black brother faced prejudice differently, followed in stores, stopped on the street, seen as a threat. 2 pains, 2 weights, same route. One night they had a brutal fight. The albino said he wished he'd never been born, called it a mistake. His brother yelled back that he had no clue what it felt like to be seen as dangerous just for breathing. Anna heard it all from behind the door. Didn't go in. Just sat on the floor and cried. She knew fights like that were coming, each carried a different load. Next morning she found them asleep on the couch, leaning on each other. Tired as always, but anger never won over their bond. Roberto got sick when they were 15. Years of hard labor caught up. Family hit rough financial times. The boys started working young, one at a market, the other odd jobs. They pooled money, shared the load. Around then the albino started writing his own stuff, about pain, identity, not fitting. Kept it hidden in a box. His black brother dreamed of getting out, studying, proving the world wrong about him. College felt far off. At 18 the split came, not in feelings, but in miles. Different paths opened. One stayed, the other chased luck in another city. Anna watched from the doorway, memorizing every second, like her heart already sensed things would never feel that close again. The black brother left first, got into a tech program far away. Not his dream, but a start. Departure day he hugged his albino brother extra long. Just said, "Don't let the world convince you you're less." The albino gave a small smile. He didn't trust the world much. First months apart were rough for both. The black one dealt with the usual bias alone now, shared rooms with strangers, night shifts, day classes. Got treated like trouble. Searched, questioned. But he toughened up, not cold, just unbreakable. Learned to turn anger into drive. The albino stayed to help his folks. Roberto got worse. Anna aged fast. He found indoor work away from sun, avoided people, avoided questions. But the emptiness followed. In that quiet, writing became his escape. Every night he'd write, stories that felt like him but never straight up. Characters who didn't belong anywhere. People judged before known. One day he posted something anonymous online. Didn't expect much. But people commented, they felt seen, they cried, they said he'd put words to what they couldn't. For the first time, he was seen without being stared at. Meanwhile his brother kept fighting his battles. One night coming home from work, police stopped him. Did nothing wrong. Still treated like he was guilty. Went home shaking, not scared, humiliated. Called his mom, couldn't talk. Called his brother. They just stayed quiet on the line together. Sometimes silence is the only thing that fits. Years rolled on. Contact stayed, less often, but deep. When they met, time rolled back a bit. The hug still fit perfect. But an invisible gap grew, stuff one lived that the other hadn't. Roberto passed on a regular morning. No big warning, his tired heart just stopped. The black brother rushed back. The albino froze. At the wake people still commented on how different the sons looked. Even then Anna held both their hands and said words they'd never forget. The world will never figure out how to handle you, but you know how to handle each other. Don't lose that. After the funeral everything shifted. The black brother decided he couldn't wait on his dream anymore. Wrote the entrance exam. Passed. It was brutal, he almost quit, but remembered his dad coming home beat, looking at his boys like he knew he wouldn't always be there. That became fuel. The albino, pushed by those anonymous comments, posted more. One blew up. An editor reached out, wanted more, wanted the full story. He almost said no, fear still bigger than hope, but went for it. Book came out without a photo. He didn't want to be seen. But it hit hard. People cried reading it. Saw themselves. Wrote saying they felt less alone. Pain turned into connection. The big reunion came years later at a small event space. Black brother invited to talk overcoming challenges in a youth program. Albino invited to speak on writing and identity. They didn't know it'd be the same spot. When they spotted each other, they froze for a second. Crowd clapped, confused. They hugged like little kids. That day they shared their story, not as medical mystery, not for curiosity, but as two lives shaped by the same prejudice in different ways. Room went heavy quiet. People cried. Heads bowed. A kid asked if they were proud of who they were. Albino breathed deep, I'm still learning. Black brother, pride isn't never feeling pain, it's keeping on feeling it even when it hits. If this part's getting to you, drop a word in the comments that sums up what you're feeling right now. Sharing it can be healing too sometimes. But their story keeps going. After that surprise meetup, something locked in between them for good. Not just missing each other, that was always there. It was real understanding. They realized they didn't have to just survive anymore. They could build something bigger with everything they'd been through. The black brother got into social projects for at-risk youth. Didn't just push school, he pushed dignity. Shared his story straight, no sugarcoating the hard parts. Said prejudice doesn't vanish when you grow up, but you decide what it won't take from you. Lots of young guys saw themselves in him. Cried quiet after his talks. The albino started showing his face more. Small interviews first, then bigger ones. Every bright room still brought that old unease. But now he walked in carrying words that healed, not asking permission to exist. In one interview they asked what it was like being albino in a black family. His answer went everywhere online: I was never split between two worlds. I was always whole. The world just took a while to catch up. Anna watched from home, older, calmer, eyes full of pride and relief. She remembered secret crying nights, locked doors, tiny hands in hers. Now she saw two men, still sensitive, but solid. They teamed up on a project mixing writing and education. School workshops, meetups with young people who'd never seen themselves anywhere. Not just racism or albinism, they talked identity, belonging, not letting snap judgments turn into verdicts. One day a young albino woman came up. Said she was ready to give up, felt like a mistake. The albino sat with her, showed an old unpublished bit he'd written at 17, about wanting to vanish. Said, "This was me before I realized my existence is an answer too." She cried, not from a fix, but from being seen. Another time a young guy who'd lost his dad young, like them, told the black brother he was mad at everything. Brother said anger can tear down or hold someone up when nothing else is there. He chose holding up. Still chooses it every day. Years later they went back to the old house. Backyard looked smaller. Wall still had those kid marks. Anna sat watching her grown sons walk the space where they'd learned to guard each other. She smiled and said the line that wrapped it all: "You survived what wasn't fair." That's a win on its own. Today when folks bring up the 1982 medical mystery, it doesn't bother them anymore. Not because they stopped being rare, but because they figured out rarity was never about skin. It was about holding onto your humanity through the pain. One's black, one's albino. Both blue-eyed, both carrying scars you can't see, both turned what nearly broke them into a road for others. If you've stuck with this whole story, drop which city you're watching from in the comments. And if you watched it all, type resistance. It helps the channel keep sharing stories that hit where the world usually hurts. Subscribe, hit notifications, check the end screen videos. Every story here might be the safe spot someone needs today. ASRAR Tales, where whoever listens never walks out the same.